Today, we're diving into A. Helva's incredible book, Secrets of Divine Love. Now, this isn't your typical religious text. Think of it more as an invitation to see Islam through a different lens, one of spirituality, connection, and, most of all, love.
So, where does this journey begin? Well, it starts in a place that's probably familiar to a lot of us. When the author, A. Helwa, first felt the call to write this book, her immediate gut reaction wasn't excitement. It was this deep, sinking feeling, I am not good enough. I mean, who hasn't felt that before, right?
But the answer she felt in her soul was what changed everything. It wasn't, oh, of course you're good enough. It was, I know, and that's precisely why I chose you. And boom, that's the core idea of this whole book. Faith isn't about us becoming perfect on our own. It's about us just showing up, flaws and all, ready for the divine to work through us.
And that really powerful moment leads us straight into our first section, a call to love. It's all about getting past our own hang-ups and stepping into the potential that's waiting for us. So here's the big takeaway. The spiritual path isn't some kind of impossible ladder you have to climb all by yourself. It's really just a change in direction. Instead of being obsessed with our own limitations and what we can't do, we're invited to just turn around and face God's infinite greatness. Because His mercy is what fills in all our gaps. Okay, so this idea of divine mercy, it naturally makes you wonder, what is God's nature, really? And that's what we're exploring next, in The Faces of God. We're going to challenge some of those old, maybe even scary ideas. You know, a lot of people grow up with this image of God as this stern cosmic judge, just waiting for us to slip up. But Secrets of Divine Love basically says, hey, let's put that image aside for a second. Instead, let's get to know God through names like Ar-Rahman, the most merciful, and Al-Wadud, the most loving. These aren't just titles. They describe the very essence of the divine. So how does this work? The book explains this perfect balance through two amazing concepts, Jamal and Jalal. Jamal is all about beauty, mercy, ease. Think of it like cool, refreshing water. Jalal is about majesty, power, purification. That's like scalding hot water. Now here's the beautiful metaphor. If you pour only hot water or only cold water into a clay pot, that's us, the pot will crack. But when you mix them, you get the perfect temperature. It's this incredible way of showing how God's mercy and justice work together to help us grow, without ever breaking us. All right, so if that's the nature of God, then what does the book have to say about us? Well, this next part dives into a pretty radical idea, our own intrinsic worth. And to get this point across, there's this fantastic story in the book. So picture this. There's a samurai and his wife on a boat, and they're caught in this absolutely massive storm. The waves are crashing, the boat is being tossed around, she's terrified. But he's just standing there, perfectly calm. So she goes up to him, totally panicked, like, how can you be so calm? And without a word, he just pulls out his razor-sharp sword and holds it right to her throat. And in that terrifying moment, she laughs. He's stunned. Why are you laughing? He asks. And she just says, because the sword is in your hand, and I know you love me, so you would never, ever hurt me. And here it is, the punchline. The samurai smiles, puts his sword away, and says, well, I too am in the hands of the one who loves me. So how can I be afraid? And that right there is the kind of unshakable faith the book talks about. It's this deep trust that no matter how bad the storm gets, we are held. Now, this kind of trust comes from an Islamic concept called fitra. The idea is that we are all born with this core of pure, innate goodness. It's like our spiritual factory setting. This is a huge deal because it means we aren't inherently broken or flawed. In this view, sin isn't some permanent stain on your soul. It's more like a cloud that temporarily covers the sun. The sun, your goodness, is always, always there. I mean, listen to this quote. It's so powerful. It's basically telling us to stop trying to measure ourselves by our jobs, our bank accounts, or what other people think. Our value isn't something that can be calculated because we were created by an infinite God. We are, as the book says, God's merchandise, and we are not for sale. Okay, so how do we get back in touch with that inner sun? How do we remember our worth? The book actually lays out a roadmap for this, and it calls it the journey inward. The very first step is an act called tauba, which is often translated as repentance. But wait, this isn't about shame or guilt. The book describes it as emptying your cup.
You see, if you want your cup to be filled with the pure awareness of God, you first have to pour out all the old, murky stuff, the judgments, the ego, the past mistakes, to make some room. And to show how this connection gets deeper and deeper, the book shares this beautiful Sufi story about 3 butterflies and a flame. The first butterfly represents Islam. It sees the smoke from a distance and says, I know about love. It's an intellectual thing. The second represents Iman. It flies closer, feels the heat, and says, wow, I know how love burns. That's direct experience. But the third butterfly, representing Ihsan, flies right into the flame and becomes one with it. That's total unity, total surrender to that divine love. And that butterfly's journey is really our journey, isn't it? It's about moving from the head, with all its questions and analysis, down to the heart, which is where we truly experience and feel that connection. It might only be 18 inches, but man, spiritually, that's the longest, most important journey we can ever take. And this whole journey, this whole perspective, it all leads to the book's final beautiful conclusion, which we'll cover in our last section, an all-embracing welcome. The book lays out this absolutely radical invitation. It's not just breaking down walls between different faiths, it's breaking them down within Islam itself. It says, flat out, that it doesn't matter what you call yourself. It doesn't matter what your background is. Heck, even if you're still just trying to figure it all out, you are welcome here. And it's all summed up in this one perfect phrase: come as you are, to Islam as it is. The point isn't to try and change the religion, but to change our experience of it. To see it not as a list of rigid rules, but as this wide open path leading back home to love. And we'll end with this thought from the poet Rumi, which just captures the entire spirit of Secrets of Divine Love. The journey isn't about going out there and finding love as if it's something you lack. It's already here. The real work is to look inside and start taking down all the walls, the fear, the ego, the judgment that we've built up against it, so we can finally feel the love that's been there all along.